Part 3. What and where are the commandments? A commandment is a synonym for an instruction, which is defined as a statement of what to do that must be obeyed by those concerned. The main difference between the two is that a commandment definition goes a step further. It says that it is given from or believes that God has directed them to do something. So, in an example of your parents ordering you to clean up your room, that is more along the lines of an instruction rather than a commandment. A commandment is meant to be viewed as a divine rule. God gave the Israelites a list of 10 things that as a new nation that they were to follow and to obey. Now this list of 10 things that they were given was something directly given from God. We can see that in Exodus chapter 20 verse 1. Because of that, this list of laws that God had given to Moses in Exodus chapter 20 fall into this category of a commandment from God. This list that we are given is something that would have seemed like simple rules and guidelines for the Israelites to follow, because all would have come from the same one and true God that had just worked through Moses to free them from their bondage. However, these 10 commandments aren't just something that we can look and read about in the history books. No, instead these list of rules still hold a great weight in modern times. They have been a model that many kingdoms and also governments have copied or at least gotten inspiration from. This is the great thing when it comes to the Bible. A lot of things that we can read about are things that we still learn from even today, thousands of years from when it was originally spoken by God for the Israelites to follow. The 10 commandments that we are given are have no gods before God in Exodus chapter 20 verse 3, graven images found in Exodus chapter 20 verses 4 and 5, do not take the name of God in vain, Exodus chapter 20 verse 7, keeping the Sabbath holy, Exodus chapter 20 verses 8 through 11, honor your father and mother, Exodus chapter 20 verse 12, do not kill, Exodus chapter 20 verse 13, do not commit adultery, Exodus chapter 20 verse 14, do not steal, Exodus chapter 20 verse 15, don't bear false witness, Exodus chapter 20 verse 16, and then finally, do not covet, Exodus chapter 20 verse 17. And just a short quantity of 14 verses from Exodus chapter 20, starting in verse 3 and then ending in verse 17, God gave out a set of powerful laws that they would help develop them into a nation under God's rule. These commandments that they were given were something that were meant to be remembered and permanent. We can see because not only were they told about these commandments, but also that they were inscribed into tablets of stone, found in Exodus chapter 34 verse 1. After these great stone tablets were made that held the 10 commandments, there had to be some place to hold these special important pieces of law. God had already planned to hold these special commandments that he had given. With these special commandments, there needed to be something special to keep them in. In Exodus chapter 25 verses 10 through 22 talks about how God wanted this storage vessel for the commandments. It's specific and exact on what kind of material it needed to be made from, what it needed to be made with, and the exact dimensions that it needed to be made. God put so much effort and work into making sure that all the Israelites would know that these things were special and needed to be treated with all the right and proper respect and importance that were deserved. This ark that they were supposed to be holding for the 10 commandments in where also was used as a symbolism for the bond and covenant between God and his people. They spent all of Exodus chapter 25 starting in verse 10 and ending in verse 22 just talking about all the specific details about how the Ark of the Covenant needed to be made. This was all done just so that it could be used to hold the tablets which were written with the 10 Commandments. Exodus chapter 25 verse 16. All this was done just to try and show the Israelites exactly what was expected of them, meaning the 10 Commandments, but then also how important they were through all the detail that went into the storage vessel for them. Combining all these things This was used to show not only the Israelites, but then also us in a more modern day and age, exactly how we should be looking and treating God's Word, with that exact form of reverence and respect that the Israelites were doing then.